What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. And I hope all of you have been holding up okay in quarantine. I hope isolation hasn't been driving you too crazy. I know many of us may not be enjoying what's going on right now, but it is for the greater good. I promise you that, you guys. Short-term losses for the overall long-term gain, you guys. Hang in there, and unfortunately this video may not make you feel any better, but I mean, what else are you going to be doing right now? That's what I thought. Let's just get straight into it. These are the top 10 scary things isolation could take away forever. Starting off at number 10 are prisons. When committing the ugliest of crimes, the highest form of punishment our governments and worlds can think of is locking that person up in isolation for the rest of their life. And we would tend to agree, right? No one wants to live in small quarters looking at the same four walls for the rest of their life, which is basically what most people in countries with lockdowns are doing right now, including me. And people are actually low-key thriving. I am not one of these people, but someone out there has to be thriving, am I right? Someone out there. What if this makes people realize that isolation isn't actually the worst punishment someone can face? What do we do with criminals then? We can't kill them all. Most people don't even support capital punishment to begin with, so what comes after prisons are decommissioned. You tell me. Coming in at 9 are small businesses part 1. The current lockdown means only essential businesses can stay open, meaning grocery stores, pharmacies, the liquor store, and the post office. That means there's so many businesses, big and small, that have had to close down their doors temporarily, but most shops did that even prior to the lockdown. These small businesses were already suffering beforehand since people started going out less, but the lockdown puts them all in further jeopardy. A lot of shops in the malls in Toronto were struggling to make their rent payments as it is, and who knows how long the lockdown will even last, which means some of them may not even get to reopen their doors when all this is over. At number 8, we have small businesses part 2. Now, small businesses are definitely getting the short end of the stick, but it's Asian small businesses that aren't getting any part of the stick at all. Now, prior to the lockdown, Asian-owned small businesses were getting vandalized. People refused to shop there in fear of the virus, so they were affected more than anyone else. But the lockdown is plummeting the sales of big businesses as well, meaning when it's over, they're going to bounce back with more sales and offers and even more advertising, once again taking a bigger portion of the market away from these small businesses. Following on the 7th slot is sociability. Now, with any sort of lockdown and isolation period, more than anything, it's a period of being alone and being scared. Scared of what the fate of the outside world is going to be, scared of how you're going to integrate back into seeing and socializing with people the same way as before, and more. The less and less you interact with people, the more inward you go. I think isolation will really impact how people socialize after all this is over. Huge crowded gatherings won't be a thing for a long time, let alone shaking people's hand without using hand sanitizer. People who already struggle with socializing normally will find it even harder after this. Now, number 6 is stable mental health part 1. Isolation isn't good for anyone, point blank. If you've seen my previous videos, scary things that people have done in isolation, then you know that it can drive people to do some pretty extreme things. I just saw a story this morning of a 90-year-old British girl who committed suicide because she was scared of the lockdown measures and contracting the virus herself. She thought she may as well be dead than get coronavirus. Others have taken their lives or other people's after being in isolation for so long, so this is low-key making me very worried for the people that were already just teetering on the edge of mental instability before this even happened. Being in isolation is only going to make their mental state worse, more disturbed and paranoid, and God knows what that could drive people to do. I don't want to know. Coming in at number 5 is stable mental health part 2. Now, I just mentioned how isolation can push people to extremes on a more murderous level, but it also just affects anyone's mental health in general. Isolation has a legitimate negative correlation with happiness, so scientifically we will all be coming out of this a lot unhappier, and that is a sad thought. A lot of my friends need activities like work or yoga or the gym or dance classes on a regular basis to stay busy and keep their mental health in check, and that's me included. Without having the ability to do any of those things now, they're really struggling, and some are in a really dark place right now, which honestly breaks my heart. We as a generation have the highest rates of depression and suicide as opposed to any other one, so this is just not the roadblock we need right now. It's just not. It's not what we need. At number 4 are food options. We're very, very lucky to have the amount of diverse food options that we do. I can literally walk outside of my house and be at a Thai, Korean, or North American restaurant within 2 minutes. I don't even gotta Uber Eats that but I still do anyway. Don't talk to me. Either way, the lockdown and isolation means these places are either completely closed or doing takeout or delivery only, and honestly, they're probably making a killing. I Uber Eats something at least every other day. I was literally Uber Eating coffee to the office every day when the cafes around us just shut down. Gotta get my Tim Hortons, gotta get my caffeine. And that is just me, that's one person. There are a lot more other people in isolation right now. But what if these restaurants realize they may be more profitable this way? Now, it certainly cuts down utility and wage costs to not be a dine-in restaurant, so what if self-isolation takes our options away from us? Ain't nobody got time for that. I need at least 20 Chinese restaurants to choose from on Uber Eats before I order from the same place I always order from. Increase our jobs. Now, if the robots or immigrants don't take our jobs, then isolation definitely will. That was a joke, people. Did you get it? I honestly hate people who say, oh, all the immigrants coming here and taking our jobs. Like, Karen, you did not go to medical school. Abdul did and is now a doctor. He did not steal your job. You were never qualified. Either way, moving swiftly on, so many people got laid off right before the lockdown and during it as well. Like, the city of Banff in Toronto only has about 8,000 people living in it, and of those, 5,000 were laid off. I know this because one of my really good friends lives in Banff. Shout out to you, Caitlin. Now, that's nearly an entire city that's now become unemployed, who will most likely not get their jobs back for a long time, and that is just one example. Most businesses will take a while to get back on their feet after this, which means unemployment will be at an all-time high. Even right now, I believe unemployment rates in Canada are the highest they've ever been. Now, number 2 is the sun. Now, I take this for granted since I live in an apartment building and I have a lot of windows, so I'm always either looking out at the view or the sunset, pondering life, you know, when is my Uber Eats gonna get here? Will my crush ever text me back? Ever? Do I really look like I wear a fake nose? You guys know how it be. But a lot of people don't live in apartments. Many of them live in basements of houses, sharing them with other tenants. Some people in isolation are not seeing the sun or getting sunlight, and I can't even imagine how depressing that could be. Imagine only going on one walk a day and that's all the sun and vitamin D you're gonna get. I mean, you could be getting another source of vitamin D at home. I don't know, that's none of my business, you nasties. Depending on how long these lockdowns last and your living situation, the sun may not be a frequent visitor. That's the problem. That just sounds very dystopian. Not seeing the sun. I haven't seen the sun in years. And finally, at number 1 is freedom. Now, honestly, I feel like people will eventually get really sick of isolation to the point the government will have to do something or give way in some regard to alleviate all their frustrations. I feel like coming out of lockdown will happen in phases where, say, one postal code can go shopping and whatnot from 9 to 1 p.m. Then another postal code area can be allowed to go out for the preceding hours and so forth. Almost like we're all functioning on like Corona time. People already feel like their freedom is being taken away from them, and you guys are right to some degree. But I mean, look at the circumstances. It's not like they want to do this. No one wants to do this. But just as quickly as our freedom was taken away, I don't think it'll be given back to us just as quickly. I mean, you know what they say, once Big Brother has the reins, he likes to hold on to them. And that is it for today's video, guys. I feel like it's day 529 of quarantine. I have not seen my friends or the sun in a very long time. I'm kidding, I do see the sun. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying occupied in some way. As always, I've been your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.